Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be taking a look at the San Diego Comic-Con 2019 convention exclusive NECA Toys Batman vs. Predator 2-pack, obviously based on the famous 1991 Dark Horse comic Batman vs. Predator. I think they actually did a sequel to Batman vs. Predator, but I never read it. I know they did a whole sequel thing for Batman vs. Aliens as well, but that's just me rambling. So this set is definitely a long time coming. About 3 years ago we actually did see this set and the Superman vs. Aliens pack alongside, I believe at the time was the Batman vs. Aliens pack as well, at a Comic-Con. And at the time, everybody was excited. We were getting all these awesome 2-packs based off some great comics, all as well. 3 years later, and nothing. They have been struggling to get these figures out because of licensing and other stuff like that, and apparently the only way they were able to release these 2-packs was via Comic-Con, and apparently New York Comic-Con as well, if you want to talk about the Batman vs. Aliens thing. But anyway, it's here. So if you attended San Diego Comic-Con 2019 this year, or you were able to pick up a set off of the two pre-sales from NECA, then goody goody. But for now, I am just going to shut up and let's get into the review. Alrighty, so as per usual, I want to take a quick gander at the packaging. It's kind of elegant and just really simple. All you have here is the Batman logo. Obviously it says Batman under it. The infamous Predator. I guess you can call it a logo. It's used for a lot of packaging. And just the Predator name. You have 20th Century Fox down there. DC. Warning labels. That's that. Let me go ahead and turn it. Just black. All around is black. They really didn't add anything, which I'm cool with. I don't mind. I don't really care, to be honest. And nothing here. So this is where you would see the figure inside. Comes with a green background, and that is that. So I honestly like it. I think it looks cool. I don't need it to really be colorful or anything, so I'm good with this. And here they are out of the packaging. Man, oh man, have these guys basically just stepped out of the comic book. This is probably the best 2-pack that NECA has ever released. Not because it's just another Predator 2-pack, but because of this feller here. And again, it's not even because he's Batman. It's because NECA, if you're watching, I'm upset too, because you really should have a full-on DC license to produce all the, to produce the whole roster of DC characters. I'm talking everything outside of just Batman and Superman, which are very good, by the way. I'm talking everybody. And it's a real shame this company doesn't have the full-on license, because they do the best job. They do it better than DC Collectibles, and that's really kind of sad, because I'm not saying DC Collectibles is, they produce bad figures, but it is definitely not on par with this feller here, or the Superman, which you'll see later in the video and in a separate video as well. So NECA, please keep trying, because based off of what I've seen with both of these 2-packs, the Superman one included, you deserve it. But anywho, let's take a look at that Batman. Alrighty, so I am going to start with just a simple 360 of this guy. Oh boy, NECA, have you done an amazing job. QC aside, and look, QC comes along with NECA. I'm not really going to trash him too much in this video, but you guys deserve, if there were Oscars given for making action figures, you guys, you'd be No Country for Old Men, you'd be Silence of the Lambs, you would be the top movies out there, because this figure is literally the best Batman I have in my collection, and I have collected a lot of different Batmans from a lot of different companies over the last decade. The same goes for Superman, and I'm about to show you why. So let's start with the head sculpt. Right now I do have that transparent face mask on, which I'll take off in a minute, but just taking a look at it, besides the bent ear right here, which I can technically fix, I just haven't gotten around to it, this is a really good sculpt. I do really like the color they chose for the bat armor, and I like all those, all the shading as well. Even in the teeth, there's a little bit of black in there. And what's cool about the mouth and just the skin in general is that it doesn't necessarily look realistic, like something out of a movie, but it's something that was drawn, obviously, out of the comic. So I'm really happy they went that direction. You can see it even more when I take off here the face mask, which kind of just pegs in, and there you go. So it looks really nice. I like how they sculpted the cowl, all the wrinkles and stuff, and here at the top you do have some more armor plating. A little bit sloppy here at the top, but I don't really care. It's totally fine. It's definitely normal, but man, just look at it and look at all the detail they put in the neck guard as well. You can see that little gold strip right there. Again, the shading is really nice. I like the gunmetal color that they chose for the armor and the back as well. This part's really cool too because it looks like some kind of endoskeleton spine, which I thought was a really cool touch. And again, what's cool about the armor is that it actually looks kind of worn. It's not necessarily battle damaged, but throughout it you can see little scuffs and scrapes that kind of make it look at least a little bit used. Or at least him just starting to battle the Predator, so it's not completely clean. And again, yeah, the ear, it happens. Probably just the way it was packaged. I can definitely fix it, but really only when you look at it up close it looks kind of odd, honestly. From a distance you can't even tell. But whew, that's nice looking. And I can just place the this back in. It just pegs in at the back of the head and it stays in nice and secure. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but it is transparent. You can actually see the eyes quite well in person. You have these little, I guess you can call it like a crevice or something. You got those little circle things that were molded in. So it is really nice looking. And the neck guard, by the way, is it's pliable. Not necessarily, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like a soft plastic, but it is manipulative. So you can move it around if you want, but I'll get into that later because you can take off bits of the armor, which I thought was pretty cool. And all the same can be said for the rest of the figure. I'm gushing over this figure. Look how nice that looks. That makes other companies who do DC make them look like chumps. NECA. The bat decal is really nice. It's actually not painted on. It's actually molded, and it's molded quite well. You can tell there's a little bit of paint wear on the ear of the bat, but again, I don't really care. I can hardly even tell unless I actually just examine the figure spot by spot. And there's a little bit more of that battle damage that I was talking about earlier. So that looks pretty cool as well. You got some here like a scratch, and again, kind of here on the shoulder. It's scattered throughout well, so that's pretty cool looking. And as I mentioned with the neck, this is a little bit manipulative, and it is actually the chest part like a soft plastic? Feels like a hard plastic. But again, it can be removed, which I don't know if I'll do that in this video because there's really nothing under there except the sculpt, no Batman insignia or anything, so it's kind of unnecessary on my end. But here are the shoulder pieces, again with that scratch, painted beautifully. I love the shading they used along these ridges and lines. Looks so flippin' nice. There's the back, and if you move the cape forward, there is that. So that looks pretty cool. Again, a really beautiful sculpt. And the paint they use for the actual batsuit, it's nice. I don't really have any issues with it. So it's a nice gray, nothing too fancy. The mold for the Batman, though, under it is really nice. It's, if I'm not mistaken, it's the same used for Superman, except for the crotch piece. But You could tell he has like a six-pack in there. You even have some veins showing just a tiny bit there on the bicep. So it's a good mold. It really is. And it's a lot of fun to mess around with. His gauntlet, so obviously you have this giant spike right here as per Batman, and it's surprisingly sharp. So don't poke yourself, kids. If you have this set, be careful. Play with caution. I exercise caution, folks. And there's the other one. You got these little... Oh, and this fell. Yeah, that happens occasionally. That's actually my one little gripe with the figure, is these pieces don't stay on all the time. If you mess around with the figure, start posing them, they will kind of fall off a little too easily. So just a heads up. But yeah, so there is more of the gauntlet. Looks really nice. You have these straps underneath it. Actually have a tiny... Is that like a tiny tint of blue? I don't know. Maybe that's just my light. And obviously you have the gloves, which look really, really nice. They're all armored, and there it goes again. It's all armored and stuff. So it's painted beautifully, and it is sculpted really nicely. And there goes the other one. Yeah, like I said, it is kind of irritating at times. You kind of just have to deal with it. It'll wedge into place eventually, but it is inevitable. But it's cool that it can come off. Definitely is. But yeah, so there you go. Here is the belt, which is just gigantic. Clearly Batman doesn't want the Predator kicking him in the nuts, and I don't blame him, because that would hurt. But yeah, he has like I don't watch wrestling at all, actually, so I don't really know much about it, but that looks like a wrestling belt. It really does. So you have the gold paint, you have some bits of silver, and the black shading in all those, again, those lines and crevices and stuff. And he obviously doesn't want him literally kicking him in the ass either. So check that out. He's got a little ass plate, which is a soft plastic. I'm actually happy about that, so it doesn't really restrict movement. It doesn't even reach this plate here, so it could have been hard plastic, but I don't really care, honestly. And you got more of the belt there. You even have like some blotches of red in there for like buttons and all that fun stuff. Moving down, so obviously you have these thigh guards. Move the cape back around, which are really nice. Again, that gunmetal silver, shading of black. It's just so lovely. You have all those bolts and dots and all that, all this plating, some more battle damage, a little bit more so on this one. I'm glad they didn't make like the battle damage symmetrical. That would have been stupid. But, and again, these can come off, and there's the bat thigh. Look at that bat thigh. That's actually a good sculpt. As creepy as that sounds, that's impressive. So he's been training his quads. I gotta take a page out of Batman's book, do some lifting. But here are the shin guards, looking pretty sweet as well. Again, some nice little bits of battle damage here and there, and the back over here. Again, it's just really, really nice looking. He's got, this must be hard to move around in, man. Look at these boots. That's a lot to lift, but he's Batman. He can lift anything. Okay, you put him on a racetrack with Superman and the Flash, he will win because he's Batman. That's just the way it works. And there are the boots. And he does have peg holes at the bottom of his feet, but I am happy to say that he stands perfectly fine. Yeah, no, he really doesn't have any issue with standing. You might find a little bit of resistance when you're trying to do an ankle pivot, but to be honest with you, it's really not too bad. You just might have to run them under hot water and fiddle around with the figure, and he can pretty much do everything that you need him to do. And oh, the big thing, the cape. So again, this is one thing that a lot of companies who produce DC struggle with, and that is the cape. It appears nobody can ever do the cape right. Some companies do, not bashing anything specific, but if you're a DC collector like me, then you know what I'm talking about. But really, this is just plain and simple, just cloth, and it looks really, really nice. To tell you the truth, it would have, yeah, been nice to have it ripped up a little, because in the comic when he does fight the Predator, if I'm not mistaken, the cape does rip a bit, but I think it's okay. You know, what can you do? I guess it would make more sense if the rest was pretty battle damaged, but it looks like they just went for a pretty much a clean look, which I'm good with. I really am. If they ever are able to produce these at stores or just outside of conventions, it'd be cool to get a full-on battle damaged version. But there he is. Again, before I get into articulation, DC knows, NECA knows how to do this. And you know what? DC knows that too. They know NECA can do it the best. Oh gosh, McFarlane got the license for DC, which I'm happy about, and I'm certain they'll do a great job, but it's hard to beat this, and that's Superman, which you'll see later. But anyway, let's get into articulation. Alrighty, so articulation. So yeah, I've decided I'm not really going to take off the armor in this video, besides obviously the thigh guards, just because I don't really find it too useful. I'm never really going to display him without it. It's definitely cool that these pieces can come off, but it's not like there's a regular Batman underneath. But anyway, so the head, let's start with that. So it looks like it is the bottom of the neck and the top are on a ball joint, so the head can look up pretty dang far, as far as you need it to, and go down that much. It can go left and right, and it can do the full 360 and just work with the neck. It'll work with you. And again, this neck guard is pliable and manipulative, so just fiddle with it and it'll pretty much do everything you need it to do. The arms definitely are a little bit limited because of these pieces, but the actual mold underneath the armor is fully articulated. It can pretty much do absolutely everything you need it to do, and you'll see why when I show Superman. But it can go full out that much, which is pretty damn good considering this is not necessarily hard plastic, but you would figure it would hinder it pretty far. And it can go forward that much and back that much. And again, these fell off, gosh darn it. He does have an upper bicep cut, and check that out, double jointed elbow, which is pretty dang sweet. This one wants to come off too. He does have a, I believe he has a, yeah. Looks like this one's stuck. Let's try this one. Oh, I guess, you know, I had originally thought that there was a wrist pivot. Huh. Maybe there is and it's just stuck, but yeah, I don't want to fiddle with it too much. There you go. And the hands can go for that much back, and they can do the full 360, but it is kind of hindered. The abs, they're pretty good. Just be very, very delicate. Can pretty much go that far back. You can do more technically, I don't advise it. And yeah, the midsection likes to pop off, but it's decent. It can pretty much do everything you need it to do. And it can twist left and right. So the legs, okay, so they are on these giant ball joints, which are pretty cool. So they can go forward that much, back that much. He can do the bat splits, and he does have an upper thigh cut, and the knees are double jointed, and the shins or under the knee can twist, has a cut, which again, I thought these had a cut too, but I guess not. And the feet can pretty much do whatever you need it to do. Ankle pivot, forward and back, got the feet articulation. So as long as you fiddle with it, he can do pretty much everything you need him to do. And yeah, keep in mind this does like to pop off for a reason, because I believe, can you take this off? Pretty sure you can. I don't like to mess with it, honestly, but yeah, there you go. It's used for like popping off the armor and stuff, but I don't want to do that, to be honest with you. I want to be careful with this, but Look, it's Batman. He's very agile, and he'll do what you need him to do. Too bad there's no interchangeable cape, like a wired cape, but I think I can live with it because I don't do a ton of toy photography. I just know folks out there who do toy photography, they'd benefit from that, but he sadly doesn't have it. And I'm going to put this back on, and oh my goodness, that is starting to really piss me off. And there he is. So again, for as much armor as he has the articulation. He can do it. But anywho, let us move on to some size comparison. Alrighty, so size. Let us measure this guy. He is almost 8 inches tall, just about, actually, if you count the ears. To put him next to some other figures, I did bring Thermal Vision Dutch for the hell of it. So there he is. Dutch is a little bit shorter, which I think is fine because he's got the extra height with the boots. Okay, moving on. I'm going to save Superman for the last. Here he is next to a Jungle Hunter. Right there. Let's bring in some more. I do have this guy right here. The Labscape Fugitive. A review is coming. There he is. I just like to mess around with these and show different stuff. And here I have Emissary number 1. So I just like to pose them together. Looks pretty cool. But I also have an alien. That's right. I have all sorts of toys. Obviously the alien is crouched down, but you get the point. Anywho, that is what you are not here to see, I would imagine. Let's remove all these wonderful toys, and that's what they are. Kids, they are toys. You can call them collectibles, but at the end of the day, they're toys. So, kids, don't be ashamed. Okay, here he is next to Superman. So I wanted to give a better look here. And if you look closely, actually, let's remove these because they should be the same. The body, I mean. So I'm going to zoom in on them in a second. Let's take a good look. So yeah, they have a similar body. As you can tell, the abs, the biceps, the thighs, pretty much everything is the same. Obviously, Superman has the different crotch piece and boots and stuff, but the base mold is what they share, which I'm fine with. That's been a thing for a lot of years. Superman, Batman sharing similar body types. They're both buff dudes. And again, I want to keep reiterating, these two folks right here, they're the best DC 6-inch or 8-inch, whatever you want to call them, figures. NECA, you know how to do it. Granted, this Superman has really been pissing me off the last few days because of various QC issues. He's still very, very good, and your copy probably won't be like mine, but it might be. But I'll save that for the review. Just look at this. NECA, you know your gods. You know it. Keep showing the world what you can do. Please do it. But anyway, I'm going to move you out of the way, and I'm going to put him next to, obviously, his nemesis, the Predator from the comic. Oh my gosh, they look so good together. I'm in love. I'm in love, children. But that is that. But, oh, we forgot one more. And here he is next to my alpaca. So, Batman here comes with a total of 3 accessories. You do have the interchangeable hand to hold his small gun, the actual small gun itself, and the infamous baseball bat that he used to bash the shit out of the Predator. And I'm glad they included this one because that's just such a cool nod. But anyway, let's actually start out with the bat. Let's try and get it focused in. It's pretty generic. It's just a baseball bat with a little bit of Predator blood. What I like about the blood is it looks very comic-y. It doesn't look like just realistic blotches of blood. It's just really stylized. Looks like it's drawn. So again, I like those cool little nods that they throw in just to make it that much cooler. But so yeah, that is pretty damn cool. You do have the, obviously, the interchangeable hand right there. Pretty sweet looking. And the small gun that goes with it. Small gun, it's nothing too fancy. It's definitely painted really well. Again, with that gunmetal and that shading of black. And it can go in pretty easily. Just be a little bit careful. And that's that. And you can actually just pop that on the figure here. This pops out pretty easily. Just kind of twist it off, but be very careful. Eventually you will get it off, and you can just slowly, carefully put this in, and voila, there he is holding it. And he holds it pretty well. So definitely no complaints here. Looks fine, just like it did in the comics. Yeah, this guy likes to fall apart on me, but there he is. But that's fine. You can take this out, of course, and can actually let him hold the baseball bat as well. Kind of have to manipulate the fingers around, and there you go. So he gets to hold it and bash the out of the Predator, which I think is pretty damn cool. Alrighty, so all in all for Batman, he is pretty much everything we asked him to be. He's articulated, he's detailed, he comes with the necessary accessories, and he's just sculpted so damn nice. Again, props to NECA. They know DC, but I'm gonna shut up before I get into another ramble so we can move on to the Predator. And speak of the devil. Okay, the main man here, the Predator. I love this thing so goddamn much. Even though it takes a lot of pieces from various Predators, it does what you need it to do, and it looks like it just popped right out of the comic. I'm gonna give a quick 360, and man, the paint job, the sculpt, it all works so dang well. We do get the brand new piece, which is the combi stick. I guess you can call it a combi stick from the comic, which can detach in two. And the paint is just so flippin' cool. He comes with the extra head, and man, I love the gunmetal that they used for this guy. The gunmetal paint for all the armor bits. It just looks so flippin' cool, and next to the Batman, it's even better. But yeah, so let's just take a closer look. So the head sculpt here is definitely something that collectors who purchase a lot of Predators would expect. It's Jungle Hunter with a really clean, kind of a blackish gray paint job for the biomask, and obviously the infamous yellow visors for the eyes, which I think look really pretty dang cool. You do have this little bit here for the laser. I'm gonna try and zoom in a bit better so you can see him, and just looks really cool. In person, there's definitely a lot more paint work on the biomask, a lot of different shades they used, and you have a little bit of his face showing there. Got some orange, red, and yellow mixed in, which look really nice. And the bottom actually has the molded face, or the jaw, I mean, so that looks really nice. And the dreadlocks, which are pretty cool. Obviously, they're no different than any other Predator dreadlocks as far as Jungle Hunter goes. And you do have these kind of bluish, grayish clips, which is definitely comic accurate. So I really like the head. It does its job. No complaints there. Let's take off the plasma caster and look at it. Again, if you collect a lot of Predators, this should be pretty familiar with you. All in all, besides the actual caster, it's Jungle Hunter with a lot of gray, silver, and blue mixed in, and of course the black wire right here. So all the detail, everything you see is definitely used and has been used before, but no complaints. That's how it looked in the book, so I'm good with that. He's very just Jungle Hunter inspired in general. The caster they use is actually City Hunter style, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is City Hunter. And it pegs into the Predator like any other Jungle Hunter mold would. Do have the port here and a port right there. And just work with it. Mine doesn't seem to go in all the way, but just work with it and eventually it'll stick on, and the combi stick fell. But we'll get to that in a little bit. And the rest of the figure is pretty damn nice. I do like this shoulder piece that they used right here. Has some really nice detail and molding there. So that looks pretty cool. And it is pliable, so you don't have to worry about the joints being restricted. And the rest of the armor, again, should look familiar, but what's cool about these, I guess you can call them chest plates, is, yeah, there are silver bits and gunmetal, but you actually see a tint of green in them, which looks pretty damn cool. And they do have a little bit of battle damage. You have to take a close look to see all those scuffs and scrapes. And you have the little wire right here. And he is, by the way, wearing the classic Jungle Hunter necklace with the skulls, the string of skulls as well, which themselves have really nice detail. Very familiar as well. We've definitely seen these before on past figures, AVP, Jungle Hunter, the whole deal. So there you go. The skin detail is just flippin' incredible. You have a lot going on here in person. You have red, brown, beige, and obviously the black for the netting. It's just incredible detail. Again, they put a lot of work into the paint. And the arms here, you can really see it. A lot of red and orange, and it looks really glossy and realistic. It's really impressive. Even the joints have that. Yeah, that's cool. Even the joints have that detail. Man, that's crazy. And here's the other side. Very Jungle Hunter-y. Got the gunmetal piece here with the wire that has not detached yet, which I'm happy about. Do have the wrist gauntlet here, looking pretty cool, and it can open, and it has all the same details that a Jungle Hunter would have. And it closes just fine on mine, but yeah, tons of detail. You got a little bit of detailing there of the skin, a little bit of that yellow. You can see some wrinkles and stuff, which is crazy. And all this wonderful detail on the hands. Got the, I call them brass knuckles, but you catch my drift. And yeah, looks pretty damn good. So, and his skirt. You can't have a Predator without a skirt. And this is definitely something that we haven't seen before. So this is a new mold. You do have some pouches on either side with unique paint jobs. And if you lift this skirt a little bit, this armor plating, here is his regular Jungle Hunter skirt. So there you go. He has extra plating just in case Batman wants to punch him in the nuts. So Batman, you're kind of screwed there. So Predator's got double plating on his wiener. And here's the same goes apparently for the butt. So he can't kick his ass. There you go. Oh, and I forgot to show off one of the most important parts, the wrist blades. Which, nothing too much to say, really. They're Jungle Hunter wrist blades. They aren't too bent on mine. And they extend. Just be careful when you're removing the hands, because you can really damage these if you're not careful. I almost did, because the hands are in there pretty damn well. And the hand I have on right now is to hold the smart disc, which I'll get into later. And speaking of smart disc, I have a small gripe. The smart disc can't necessarily fit in here. It's meant to, but if you notice, there's a curve. So that kind of sucks that I can't put the smart disc in there to hold it, because again, there is this curve and it just won't stay in. It usually stays in by friction, but that's not the case. You got the detail in there and everything. Nice shiny paint and the whole deal. Got some nice green right here as well, like an army green. But yeah, And again, with the paint for the skin, it is beautiful. He's kind of like a rainbow. Look at all that red and orange and yellow and all that fun stuff. So he's a colorful and prideful predator. Wonderful. And got that armor plating. Again, a bit of green in there, just a slight tint. And got the kneecaps here with a ton of damage. He's on his knees a lot. He works hard, so he's got some battle damage. And moving down to the shin guards. Again, nice battle damage. Looking beautiful, as always. And the feet, which are very colorful. Look at all those colors. Again, he's a very prideful predator. He takes care of his skin and all the colors of his skin. And he does have peg holes, but he stands just fine. He has not fallen on me once, so I don't know what will happen in the future, but so far he's good with standing. He doesn't really need to stand, so good job, NECA. Okay, so let us move on to articulation. If you want, you can fast forward through this because it's just no different than a standard Ultimate Jungle Hunter. But if you're new to the Alien Predator community or collecting in general, then hey, why not stick around? But it's pretty boring. The head can go up. Holy shit. I'm glad if you stuck around. Oh man, oh man. I did not expect that. I did not expect that much resistance. Is that really? Oh man, that is kind of... Oh yeah, that's really tightly in there. Damn. That did not happen with me before. It just went flying. Okay. The head, very carefully, can go up that much and down that much. Can go left and right, and it can do the full 360, but I don't recommend it because of the dreads here. The arms, each shoulder has limited articulation, this one especially because of the armor, so you know, it can do what it needs to do, just be very careful. I can show you here. This one's a little limited as well, and it does have the upper bicep cut and a double jointed elbow, which is wonderful, and a wrist cut as well, or a forearm cut, whatever you want to call it. And the hands can do 360, and they can go out and in, though I don't recommend doing a 360 on this one because of the blades. Okay, so the abs here, again, with Ultimate molds, you have the joint up here and here. The joint up here can go forward and back pretty dang well, side to side. They can wobble, they can do what you needed to do, and the bottom has a little bit of articulation, but altogether it's pretty agile. So again, when it comes to these joints, work with them, manipulate them, and eventually they'll do what you need them to do. The legs, okay, so they can go forward that much with a little bit of resistance, back that much, and he can do the splits, just not all the way because of these pouches. And he has an upper thigh cut, which is wonderful, and a double jointed knee, pretty sweet as well. And the foot can go 360 forward, back, and he does have ankle pivot. And again, he stands pretty damn well. And I have to put the plasma caster back on because this guy thought he was a unicorn flying over a f***ing rainbow with that shit he pulled on me. God damn. Don't worry, kids, I wasn't actually mad. I just gotta make some people laugh, okay? Okay, so size. Obviously, he's just typical predator. The mold, I mean, just jungle hunter, so he is over 8 inches. Like I said, just a typical predator. Nothing too unique about him, but let's show him off actually with Jungle Hunter. And yeah, they're pretty similar. Obviously, they share a lot of pieces, except the bottom half of the legs because they are kind of City Hunter. And again, here he is with Lab Escape. Pretty cool. And Dutch. So he fits in. He looks beautiful. Not a whole lot to say because he's he's pretty similar to a lot of Predators. Definitely comic accurate, but yeah, there you go. And obviously, Batman, who decided to fall on me. There he is. And Superman. And this big-ass alien. We're actually gonna move Superman out of the way, put him right here. Stand. And there you go. So we got all these exclusives right here. And here he is next to my alpaca. Okay, accessories. Let's start with the easy stuff. You do have this interchangeable left hand, which we definitely get a lot with other Predators, so honestly there's not a ton to say about this one. And you also get this one here, which is not exactly a closed fist. We use this a lot for pressing buttons on his wrist gauntlet. And he can hold some stuff. He can definitely hold the smart disc with this, even though he does have a hand specially made for that. So, again, this comes with a ton of Predators. The actual smart disc, which is very familiar, just a very shiny silver, but you do have all that same detail. And again, he has the hand, so you can work with it. Put it in there, and voila, he can hold it just fine. Again, I want to reiterate something. Be careful interchanging this hand. Mine has an especially tight joint, so pulling it out and not damaging the wrist blades was really difficult. I did okay, but it's definitely something I'm not going to be doing all too often, so just a heads up. Okay, and we do have his combi stick, which is, by the way, a brand new mold, unique to the comic book. And it can extend, which is a lot of fun. So that's pretty cool. One end, again, is pretty dang sharp. Got a little bit of battle damage and dirt right there. Moving down, you have more of this goodness. Again, I like that gray patch that they put underneath it. And pretty damn pointy. Again, children, little ones who watch the channel, be careful, because you might end up like me and cut yourself. But he holds it just fine. He has a special hand for it right here, like a lot of Predators do. And with a lot of Predators, just work it in nice and slow. Don't be too aggressive, because you're gonna break the hand or bend the fingers the wrong way. And again, you have to work with it, because he doesn't hold it too amazing. I kind of put it in backwards, but you can have it either way. I don't think it really matters. There you go. He holds it well. I think he does fine with it, and it looks pretty damn cool. Move up the camera. Whew. Look at that goodness. Again, work with it. You gotta hold it. There you go. So he can slash Batman up now. Anyway, moving on to the head sculpt, or the second head sculpt, I should say, and it looks familiar, doesn't it? Yeah, pretty much a repaint of Jungle Hunter, which I'm definitely okay with. He does have some wonderful paint in the eyes, and he's not cross-eyed, which is absolutely beautiful. And the skin detail, man, just look at all that. All the glossy paint they used, and how the brown meshes in with this beige, and then eventually to this kind of like a yellow tint. All the scales and everything, it's crazy looking. And they even sculpted detail there in his gums and his mouth. Got the teeth there. It's just everything you would want. And got some more brown here with some spots all around. Even underneath is sculpted. Even behind the flip and dreadlocks. Again, when it comes to NECA, sculpt wise, you are good to go, especially with Predators, because they're gods. But to pop it on, again, should be all too familiar. I'm going to take this off. I think we learned our lesson. I'm going to slowly twist this off. There you go. And place the other one there. And you should be good. You'll have to rearrange the dreads later. But, yeah. Oh man, I actually had to pause there because that was difficult to get on. Yeah. And then you can put the caster back on. and you should be good to go. Again, it doesn't want to stay on fully for me. Maybe the dreads are in the way. There we go. Yeah, looks like the dreads were in the way. And the plasma caster has typical articulation. The joint here and has like a ball joint right there. So there you go. And that looks flippin' badass, by the way. Check that out. Whew. That's a lovely Predator. And my friends, we have arrived at the end of the video. We have clocked in about an hour from my end before editing, so that's a lot. I wanted to give you guys a detailed look at both of these figures, even the Predator, who we've seen a lot of, and what I mean by that is we've seen a lot of the same parts, but people are new to the channel, so I like to show each figure for what it is in full detail. I don't like to cut corners too often, but let me know what you think. Again, I'm amazed by this Batman. The Batman is incredible, so is the Superman. NECA, good job. Good job. You got some QC issues you need to work out, okay? Especially with Superman, motherfucker. But you catch my drift. And the accessories we got with these guys were pretty cool. Again, you got the baseball bat, the small gun for Batman, the combi stick, the extra head sculpt, and the smart disc for the Predator. So you pretty much get everything that you need. They're super comic accurate, well done, and if you're able to pick these up for a reasonable price, unless you were part of the pre-sale or attended Comic-Con, I definitely recommend them. They're definitely a unique set to have, and especially if you're a fan of the 1991 comic. It was a great comic for its time, especially a hell of a lot better than the comics we have now. Actually, the Alien Predator comics these days are still pretty damn good. I just feel like Marvel has gone a little bit down the drain, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother video. But anywho, folks, let me know what you think of this, and go check out the Sanctuary on Facebook and YouTube, and Trophy Room on Facebook. It's a lovely Alien Predator group that I created, so if you're a fan of Alien Predator, of anything, go post about it. We want you there. And as always, people, have a good morning, evening, midday, whatever, and take care.